The young woman woke up to a piercing headache and a sense of disorientation. She was lying on a hospital bed, surrounded by dilapidated walls and broken equipment. She had no memory of how she got there, and her mind was a blank slate. She tried to get up, but her body felt heavy, as if she had been drugged. As she looked around, she noticed that the hospital was abandoned. The lights were flickering, and the corridors were eerily quiet. There was a sense of foreboding in the air, and she knew that she was in danger. She tried to find a way out, but every door she tried was locked. She stumbled upon a room that had a sign that read "Records Room." She searched through the files and found a folder with her name on it. Inside, she discovered that she was a patient at this hospital and had been admitted for a severe head injury. The records indicated that she had been in a coma for the past 6 months. The young woman was horrified. She had no memory of being admitted to the hospital, let alone being in a coma. She tried to remember anything about her life before the coma, but her mind was a blank. As she continued to search through the files, she found something even more unsettling. The hospital had a dark past. It had been shut down because of its connection to a series of mysterious deaths that had occurred there. The victims were all patients who had been admitted for minor injuries, but their conditions had worsened, and they had died under mysterious circumstances. The young woman's heart was racing. She knew she had to escape this place before it was too late. But as she tried to make her way out, she found herself facing a series of obstacles. The hospital was designed like a maze, and every door she opened led to a dead end. She was trapped, and her only hope was to uncover the truth behind the hospital's dark past. As she continued to search, she discovered a hidden room that contained a secret laboratory. It was filled with equipment and chemicals, and it was evident that experiments had been carried out there. She found a logbook that contained detailed records of the experiments, and it was clear that they had been conducted on unsuspecting patients. The young woman was horrified. She knew she had to get out of there and alert the authorities. But as she tried to leave the room, she was confronted by a figure in a white coat. It was a doctor who had been conducting the experiments. The doctor revealed that the young woman was the latest subject of his experiments. He had been trying to develop a new drug that could erase memories, and he had used her as a test subject. He had wiped out her memory and had been keeping her in the hospital for observation. The young woman was paralyzed with fear. She knew she had to escape, but the doctor was blocking her way. She searched for a weapon and found a syringe filled with a clear liquid. She plunged it into the doctor's neck, and he fell to the ground, unconscious. The young woman made her way out of the hospital and called the police. She revealed the truth about the hospital's dark past and the doctor's experiments. The authorities were shocked, and the hospital was shut down for good. The young woman was taken to the hospital, where she was treated for her injuries. Her memory slowly started to return, and she began to remember bits and pieces of her past. She learned that she had been a journalist who had been investigating the hospital's connection to the mysterious deaths. The doctor had attacked her, and she had been admitted to the hospital for treatment. In the year 2075, time travel had become a reality, and a group of scientists at the Time Research Institute were working on developing a new form of time machine. They had been testing their invention for months, but during one of their experiments, something went wrong. As they activated the machine, they noticed a disturbance in the fabric of time. Suddenly, a massive, otherworldly creature emerged from the portal, and the scientists watched in horror as it began to destroy everything in its path. The creature was a biological weapon developed in the year 2200, a time when the world was at war and humanity was on the brink of destruction. It had been designed to wipe out entire cities and was nearly indestructible. The scientists at the Time Research Institute had accidentally unleashed the monster on their world, and they knew they had to find a way to stop it before it was too late. They quickly realized that the creature was impervious to conventional weapons, and they needed to find a way to neutralize it. They scoured the historical records to find a way to defeat the monster and came across an ancient text that spoke of a powerful artifact that could destroy any enemy. The artifact was hidden deep within a temple in a remote location, and the scientists knew they had to travel back in time to retrieve it. They activated the time machine and jumped back to the year 400, hoping to find the artifact before the creature could catch up with them. As they arrived in the past, they found themselves in the midst of a fierce battle between two rival tribes. They had to navigate through the chaos and find a way to retrieve the artifact without being caught. After several harrowing encounters, they finally discovered the temple where the artifact was kept. It was guarded by an ancient order of warriors who had sworn to protect it at all costs. The scientists knew they had to convince the warriors to let them take the artifact and use it to save their world. They explained the situation and begged for their help. The warriors agreed to lend their aid and accompanied the scientists back to the future. They arrived just in time to face the creature, which was wreaking havoc on the city. With the warriors' help, the scientists were able to get close enough to the creature to use the artifact. It was a small, glowing orb that emitted a powerful energy field that disintegrated anything it touched. The scientists activated the artifact, and the creature was immediately engulfed in a blinding light. The monster writhed and screamed as it was slowly disintegrated, and within moments, it was gone. The city was safe once again, and the scientists breathed a sigh of relief. They had narrowly averted a catastrophe and had saved their world from certain destruction. They realized the dangers of tampering with time and resolved to be more careful in their future experiments. But they also knew that the power of time travel could be used for good, and they continued their research, hoping to find ways to make the world a better place. In the end, they learned that even the smallest of actions could have a significant impact on the future, and that with great power came great responsibility. They vowed to use their knowledge for the betterment of mankind and to ensure that the horrors of the past would never be repeated in the future. It was supposed to be a weekend getaway for 5 friends, but it turned into a nightmare when they stumbled upon an ancient burial ground deep in the woods. They had been hiking for hours and had lost their way when they spotted an old, overgrown path. Curiosity got the best of them, and they followed it until they came across the burial ground. It was a small clearing, surrounded by tall trees and dense underbrush. The ground was littered with ancient tombstones and markers, and an eerie mist hung over everything. As they explored the area, they noticed a sense of foreboding, and an unsettling feeling crept over them. They soon realized that they were not alone. A supernatural force had been awakened by their presence, and it was not happy. The force was a spirit guardian, a powerful entity tasked with protecting the ancient burial ground and the souls that lay within it. The friends tried to leave, but they found themselves unable to move. The spirit guardian had trapped them within the clearing, and it was clear that it would stop at nothing to protect the sacred ground. The friends were terrified, and they knew they had to find a way out before the guardian attacked. They searched for clues, trying to figure out what they could do to escape. They soon discovered that the guardian could be appeased with offerings of food and drink. They quickly gathered what they could find and made a small altar in the center of the clearing. The guardian seemed pleased with their offering and allowed them to leave. But the friends knew that they had to be careful. They had unleashed a powerful force, and they were not sure if they could control it. As they made their way back to civilization, they noticed that strange things were happening. They felt as though they were being watched, and they heard whispers on the wind. It seemed as though the spirit guardian had followed them, and it was not going to let them go. They tried to ignore it, hoping that it was just their imaginations, but the presence grew stronger with each passing day. They knew they had to confront the guardian and put an end to its reign of terror. They returned to the burial ground, armed with everything they had learned about the spirit guardian. They made a new offering, this time including symbols of respect and reverence for the spirits of the dead. The guardian appeared, and they spoke to it with respect and humility. They explained that they meant no harm, and that they only wanted to pay their respects to the dead. To their surprise, the guardian responded. It was a benevolent entity, tasked with protecting the souls of the dead and ensuring that their resting place remained undisturbed. It had been angered by the friends' intrusion, but it was willing to forgive them if they showed proper respect. The friends apologized for their actions and offered to help maintain the burial ground. They promised to keep it free of litter and to make sure that it remained a peaceful resting place for the dead. The guardian accepted their offer and allowed them to leave. As they walked away, they felt a sense of peace wash over them. They had confronted a powerful supernatural force and had emerged unscathed. They realized that they had learned an important lesson. The ancient burial ground was a place of power and respect, and it was not to be taken lightly. They vowed to share their experience with others and to teach them the importance of respecting the dead and the spirits that guarded them.